zoax.net. Lesson 2, Variables. For this lesson, you will need to create an HTML file and a JavaScript file like the ones we created in Lesson 1. A variable, as the name suggests, is something that can be changed. We can think of a variable as a box that can hold an object. We can store a ball in the box, or we can store a train in the box, and whatever we put in the box remains there until we remove it. We can also look into the box to see what is in it. In JavaScript, a variable is like the box except that it holds information. The information can be as simple as an integer or as complex as an entire game. In this lesson, we will demonstrate how to use and view the contents of a variable. As in Lesson 1, we have an HTML file and a JavaScript file. Our HTML file is the same as the one from Lesson 1. We have simply changed the file name and this call to the JavaScript file. As for the JavaScript file, we have called it lesson2.js and put it in the same folder. As before, the files are available for download from our lesson page. We will start with this code as the contents of our JavaScript file. The first line declares a variable named x and sets its value to 1. The second line prints it. So if we double-click on the HTML file, we see 1 printed in a new browser pane. We can add these two lines to the program and save the file. The next line assigns the value 2 to the variable x. The last line prints its value again. So when we double-click on the HTML file, we see a 1 and then a 2 printed. This reflects the change in the variable's value. We can continue changing the variable's value. To demonstrate this, we add these lines and save the JavaScript file again. This line outputs a line break. The line break or end line sends the output to the beginning of the next line. So when we double-click on the HTML file now, we see 1 and 2, and then 3 on the next line. This demonstrates the effect of the line break. Finally, we will add these 6 lines of code to the program to demonstrate some more variable usage. The first 2 line breaks move the output down 2 lines. Then the variable x is set equal to the string drugs to print the message, "Just say no to drugs," followed by a line break using the new variable value. After this, the variable is set equal to alcohol and the message "Just say no to alcohol" is printed, so that when we double-click the HTML file now, we see the numbers as they were before, followed by the messages "Just say no to drugs" and "Just say no to alcohol" below them. Notice the skipped line after the numbers caused by the 2 line breaks. Let's look back at the code and I will explain a few things that might be unclear. Notice the backslash characters that I put before the double quote marks around the word no. These backslashes are used to tell the interpreter that the quote marks are inside the string and that we want them printed, unlike the quote marks at the ends. The plus signs are used between things that are printed to tell the compiler to print them together. The technical term for this is concatenation. So we say that the first string is concatenated with the value x, which is in turn concatenated with the line break character. The exact same thing is done in this line. The only difference is that the value of x is changed before the second printing. One last thing to note is that the value of x was initially an integer. Later it was assigned to the value drugs, which is a string of characters. As this implies, JavaScript variables can be used to hold any type of data. This final version of the program is available for download from our lesson page.